Hello, and welcome to the third episode of Bad Film Reviews.
Yeah.
Movie review.
Or bad
Bad,
movie reviews. It doesn't matter. We're going by both
uh,
names.
um, today, we have you reviewing a
Ghost
special movie.
Rider.
A
Yeah.
special movie. It's a very special film. It's the first film that we're watching that stars Nicolas Cage with his really bad fake southern accent.
Ah, yes. And also, this started the Marvel Cinematic Wait, hang on.
No,
Oh,
no,
it
that's
doesn't.
Hulk.
It doesn't
No.
start. Yeah, it's Hulk from 2003. That's the one that starts the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
No, Hulk from
Um,
2003 was a response to Spider-Man.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing about this film that already irked me from the start. This came out a year before Iron Man. A year before Iron Man. And we got
the CGI is
this
10
film.
times worse.
And no, it's not even just the CGI. The plot doesn't make any sense. I don't know why they did Ghost Rider out of all properties. This was a
He's
Sony
not
film.
even a hero. He's like an anti-hero. Punisher is an anti-hero, and they can do that well. But he's feels like 1970 biker trash.
Yeah. The first so Sony had other properties, right? This was a Sony
This
film.
wasn't
so
Sony. This
was
wasn't Sony.
Columbia Pictures. It was Sony.
It was Sony.
Yeah, this was by Sony. Columbia Pictures is owned by Sony. This was a Sony film. This is one of their properties. They should
made it. They made like the. Did they make it after Spider-Man 3?
I think it was the same year.
Oh my.
Because I think
Jeez.
Spider-Man 1 was 2002, Spider-Man 2 is 2004, and then Spider-Man 3 was 2007, which is also this year.
I actually took notes during this, so like.
I never take notes because I like to just go into it completely blind and then try to remember as much as I can.
Well,
That's kind of my thing.
one of the first things the first note I took, because at the beginning of the film I wasn't taking any notes, but then after a couple minutes I was like, this is really dense for an hour and 50-minute film, because it's an hour and 50 minutes and it doesn't actually get going into like a half hour is left of the film.
Yeah, I mean that's actually a pretty good synopsis of the whole plot right there.
The other an hour and 20 minutes is literally just exposition.
Which, I mean, isn't terrible if you're writing a film that's really long, but this is not a really long film. This is an hour and 50 minutes. This doesn't even hit the 2-hour mark. And if you're gonna
That's
make
including credits.
if you're gonna make, yeah, exactly. If you're gonna make an hour and 20 minutes of exposition, make like a 3.5-hour film. Preferably just cut in two. Just make a movie and then a sequel. Don't.
There is a sequel to this, and I don't want to watch it.
I don't want to watch it either. I'm kind of scared of watching this one. The sequel to this one.
The CGI is not great, but it could be way worse. Like, I would like to see the budget for this film.
God. I looked it up. I think it's 100 mil.
100 million?
It's somewhere in the hundred millions. Yeah.
Jeez, for that trash. I thought part of that budget probably went to freaking Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, probably actually. Yeah, we have to pay him like 20
Nicolas Cage is a good actor. He won Oscars. So like,
he also was nominated for Raspberries, right? Or Razzies. What are they called? Razzies? It's the bad film ones.
yeah. So like, he's a good actor genuinely. He genuinely is a good actor, but like, he stars in bad films.
He stars in terrible films. I mean, this was not good by any means, but for some reason,
So I have a weird thing when I go into a film knowing it's gonna be bad, I can enjoy it way more, because I can look at this and be like, this is really bad.
I mean, the only film we've watched so far that I enjoyed to an extent was Indiana Jones 4, and that was because like I had already watched the other three the same week, so I like just kind of was more attached to the franchise at that time. But this film was like, I mean, this film's not as bad as the Holiday Special, which we reviewed first, but it's not great. It's not a good film. I'm actually a little bit shocked that Sony made this one, because honestly, it should have. If it was Universal, it would have made a lot of sense. Because Universal didn't really make good Marvel films ever.
We could have done worse with Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Oh
but
God.
like, I still haven't seen Amazing Spider-Man 1. I watched Amazing Spider-Man 2 without seeing Amazing Spider-Man 1.
I haven't seen either. I haven't seen. I've seen one. I haven't seen two. But I saw one so long ago that I'm probably, if we ever go to watch either of those films, I'm just gonna watch like Amazing Spider-Man 1 again, just to remember it, because I don't remember it.
Um. Anyways, so in my notes, his name, the evil guy's name was Blackheart, I think, but I just called him Sideburns because he had sideburns.
Oh, it's not the devil though, it's like the actual like bad guy.
Yeah, the guy with black hair.
The son of the devil. I just called him
Yeah.
the devil's son. Like I don't
Um,
I didn't care
he
enough.
freaking introduction to him is him just going into a bar and just killing people for no reason.
Well, I mean, he is the devil's son, but
I
you
mean,
know,
no,
it's just
but
kind of
the devil literally just freaking is a dick. He
the devil's not even like a bad person in this film though. He's
like
kind of
all
like
he was he went to Johnny Blaze, which is a really stupid name. In
well,
the comics,
that's a
in the
comic though, but
no, in the comics they made him have like that was just his stage name. He actually had a different name in the comics. Johnny Blaze.
I didn't know that.
And so he was sulking around because he figured out his dad had lung cancer or something, probably lung cancer. But
it was some kind of cancer.
Anyways, then the devil's like
remember.
when Johnny's like working on his bike, the devil just comes and is like, "Hey, I can cure your father if you give me a soul," and he's like,
This is so dumb. And then he like pulls out a contract for him to sign, and then he like bleeds, and he's like, "Oh, that's good enough," and he just runs away. Like what?
and then he signs it. He does sign it. He did.
Oh, he does? No, I thought he just had a drop of blood. I think there was just a drop of blood in the contract.
Anyways,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what
then,
happened.
And then the next day, his father's like, "I'm as healthy as a horse," and then the father fucking dies.
Oh yeah, that was so bad. So so the thing about the father dying in the film was that, I mean, I kind of expected it was gonna happen because like there's no father in the rest of the film. I knew that for a fact because why would the main protagonist have any family, right? So I knew that he was gonna die at some point because it's just a trope in especially superhero films. But case in point, Uncle Ben in every single Spider-Man film. Anyway,
except for Homecoming,
except for the MCU ones. But there's always like a main protagonist like family member that dies that makes them become the quote unquote superhero. And I knew it was going to be the father. So the worst part is that he kind of just
he falls into a bunch of fire in a flame retardant suit. And he dies.
Well, I mean, you know, he is I mean, that's kind of the whole point, though, is that there's, like, a risk to the stunts that he's doing.
Yeah, but here's the thing. He fell at a very slow speed. He probably would have survived if the devil didn't do it.
But it was the devil, so I mean, it makes sense. I mean, you kind of just have to take it at face value and be like, okay, whatever, and move on. Because if that was the only bad part about the film, it would still be an amazing film. But it wasn't. It wasn't the only bad part of the film.
And then we cut to him getting like ghostwrited by the devil. Like, you will now be the ghostwriter when I need you to be. And he's like, you can never have girlfriends. Except he doesn't explicitly like make him like be unable to do it. He just tells him you can't have girlfriends anymore. He's like, okay. and then he leaves his girlfriend underneath a tree when it's raining. For some reason, it just started raining.
Oh yeah, that was weird too.
It wasn't raining at the beginning. At the beginning of that dead dad scene, he just started raining when. It feels like there's scenes missing sometimes in the film too. Like
that's actually possible. They might have just like had scenes that like, because the thing is that back then, especially if you had made a film that was like 2 hours long, people wouldn't watch it. So we live in a time where like we can sit down, watch 3-hour films, and like actually like still enjoy them, because that's kind of how superhero films work now, which is like the main industry at this point. But back then in 2007, if you made a film that was anywhere close to like 2 hours, people probably wouldn't watch it. They just wouldn't. It wouldn't be worth their time. So it's very possible that there's like a director's cut that has more scenes in it, and they just kind of like left them on the cutting room floor because like they were running out of time.
And then then we cut to Nicolas Cage.
Oh yeah, that was weird too. So I understand that Nicolas Cage is like a really, really like good actor, so they wanted to make him for this film. But why have a younger version of him?
Like, why couldn't they have just like de-aged Nicolas Cage?
Well, not even that. Just made him made there not be a time skip. There's no reason for the time skip.
Yeah, like a lot of the time, the actors the actors and actresses don't even look like the younger counterparts.
Yeah,
They just don't.
So either this film would have been better one of two ways. One, they keep the young actor throughout the entire film. Sure, you don't have Nicolas Cage, but then you can't blame it on Nicolas Cage. The second part is that maybe you have Nicolas Cage be the main actor throughout the whole thing, and you just forget about the younger counterpart. There's no reason for the time skip at all. It could be like 6 months later or something like that. It doesn't have to be like 10 years, 20 years later. That's basically the time skip. So...
by the way, it seems like in every single bad film there is a doormat. And in this film, it's this guy. It's this paramedic guy that's friends with him, but like disappears for like the middle part of the movie and then appears again.
Yeah, he plays Harvey Bullock on Gotham. That's how I know that actor, and he plays that character really well. Everyone in Gotham, in my opinion, is a really, really good actor. But in this film,
I like the actor who plays Edwin Nigma.
Oh yeah, like every single person in that series is so. We should review that. I know it's not a film or a bad film, but we should review it at some point. It's such a good series.
When I finish it, I kind of like stopped watching it because like.
Oh, I stopped watching it too, but I do want to go back to it and just finish it. It really was such a good series though. But I mean, this guy. I mean, again, we were like what 6 years off from that, 7 years off from that, and so he should be like a decent actor at this point. And I kind of feel like his character is like. Howdy, partner. I'm gonna be your sidekick, but not do anything the whole film, aka a doormat.
He's at the beginning of the film. Then in the middle of the film, we get like Ghost Rider, and at the end of the film, he's like, "Hi, I exist," and then he dies.
Oh yeah, that sucked too. Why did they just kill him? And he doesn't even care. He doesn't even care that he died. That's the worst part.
No. He literally just says his name. I forgot his name. He says, "Oh," and then he's like, "Oh."
And he's like, oh, thank God that Roxy, the person who was with me in my younger years, but I stopped dating because I was afraid that you would die. Oh, thank God you're still alive and not my friend who's been with me through thick and thin. Like, that was... that was, like, the whole... I don't know. That was so unrealistic and just terrible.
We need to get back to... He does a stunt, and he meets with Roxanne again.
Yeah, he does that huge, like, 25 million helicopter jump over football field stunt that shouldn't be possible.
and then he schedules a date. And that same day, he's extremely unlucky. The devil's like, now. And he's like,
what the? Oh, no. And I'm like, I know this is going to happen.
So, okay, the best effects from this entire film are freaking Nicolas Cage's face melting off.
That was
surprisingly good.
Yeah. I mean, it's not really necessary, in my opinion, but it was a decent use of CGI. Especially for the time.
And then he can make people stare into his eyes and like freaking make them die.
Which is, I don't even know if that's in the comics, but if it is, that's kind of a dumb ability.
Yeah, if they have a soul, he can do that too. And that's very important to the final scene. It's very stupid, but I will get to that later.
Well, the whole movie is kind of stupid. I mean,
okay. So the next scene. You know what? Let's just cut to the part where he freaking kills a guy by making a chain wrap around him.
Yeah, that was dumb.
He freaking grabs a chain. He steals a chain. I don't know where. I freaking fell asleep.
No, what was happening was he was trying to hang him using the chain to kill him.
Oh yeah.
And then he kind of just like doesn't die from it somehow. And makes it burn up, and then he burns the guy.
He makes him... No, he doesn't burn the guy. He makes him fucking explode.
Right, but through heat. I'm pretty sure he put fire on the...
He did burn him, but
on
he
the
exploded.
Chain.
If the burn didn't kill him, the explosion...
Sort of like what happened with General Grievous in Episode 3. And then, like, he gets shot a couple times and his stomach just burns up and
anyways,
explodes.
the important thing that I wanted to mention was... Mr. Sideburns has 3 cronies that just appear for some reason. They have no real
Oh
reason to
yeah,
exist.
they just kind of appear for obstacles for Ghost Rider to tackle on. Like, oh boy,
And
here comes the four villains.
so the main thing that everybody wants in this movie is this like scroll that gives people souls.
Right, which
They
doesn't
don't
make a lot of sense.
explain it at all. There is no explanation for why it exists.
Or
Except
why
for,
would
like,
you want
the
it?
people were greedy. That was it. That's the only people in town were greedy.
I thought, until the very final scene of that film, that was like a contract, and like you had to kill those 1,000 people, and if you did it, you'd be rewarded with something. But you didn't know who the 1,000 people were, so you had to like get the contract.
And, okay,
That's
so
what I
anyway,
thought it was, and they never explained it, so I didn't.
So Nicolas Cage can only be Ghost Rider when he's in shadows.
Which is dumb because it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
And actually that's wrong because it's not. It's nighttime or shadows, which also doesn't make any sense because he does it in the prison when it's all lit up because it's nighttime.
Anyways,
So it contradicts itself like 10 times throughout the film, but it's fine.
he freaking goes to a graveyard and he sees, which is where his father was buried for some reason, and he meets this freaking old guy. This old guy, like
They call him the caretaker, I think.
And like he exists, and he's like, "Howdy, partner. I'm an old guy.
The old doormat.
And I know all the stuff."
It's the old doormat.
And Nicolas Cage is like, "I don't want to be here," and then he leaves.
Yeah. So another thing is like this. I mean, this is obviously really poorly written, but a lot of the stuff that happens in the film, like he leaves Roxy at the tree, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But okay, just roll with it, I guess. And then he leaves Roxy for the date. Again, doesn't make a whole like. Couldn't he just call her and just be like, "Hey, I can't make it." Like, I mean, this takes place in modern times, so we know he can do that, but he doesn't. So I don't.
Well, he was a Ghost Rider at the time.
Well, yeah, but it's kind of like, and then she's all like, first of all, he learns how to control his abilities like surprisingly quickly. Which
he looks in a book and he's like, "This is how you control a demon," and he's like, "Cool," and then he controls her like 5 seconds later.
yeah, which doesn't make any sense at all, but it's fine, I guess. Again, like a lot of this, you have to just be kind of like, I mean, I guess I'm fine with that, whatever, because you have to just keep going. This is such a like, it feels so long too. I guess whenever we watch some bad movies, like, it feels really long. Like the holiday special felt like it took like 3 hours. This felt like it took like at least 2.5 hours. It was only an hour and 50, so I don't. It just felt so long.
The worst part was, I watched like an hour and 20 minutes of it. Then I went to eat dinner and then I watched Mandalorian season finale.
And then you watched the other half
and
hour.
And I watched the last half hour.
Oh, that's so bad.
And then I'm like, I literally had watched the epic reveal at the end of it. I'm not gonna spoil it because it literally came on Friday. So
yeah. This will be out on Monday, but yeah, it's definitely
anyways, so like I came from that, and then I had to watch this. I forced myself to watch it because I didn't want to watch any more of this because it was just really bad. So and I finished it, and I was disappointed.
Well, I mean, it didn't have a great ending like Mandalorian did, but...
No. Let's just skip to the final act because nothing happens in between Nicolas Cage gets arrested for killing a bunch of people when he didn't kill any people. He only killed one guy when they think he killed like a lot more.
For some reason.
But because they somehow found his fingerprints, even though his hands were burning.
It's alright. Just keep going. Just keep. If we go over all the inconsistencies,
and then he's able to escape for some reason because he turns into Ghost Rider, and then he freaking kills everyone in that except for one guy he's like innocent, and then he leaves. I
literally so that's the jail cell I was talking about. That's all lit up, and then he just burns up anyway.
Sunlight.
But it's like it's nighttime, sure, but then like if it's nighttime and you're able to do it in the light, then how come when it's daytime you can still do it in the night? Like, it doesn't make any sense. So he basically can just burn up at any time.
Yeah,
Like, it's
but
just kind of
my
inconsistent.
so some freaking Jason Goes to Hell shit. He has a freaking gun that can turn into Ghost Rider gun.
Which also doesn't make any sense, because if it's just possessing him, how come he's able to, like, even though the chain, like, how is he able to make the chain go to fire and stuff? And the motorcycle. How is any of it supposed to catch on fire? That's not how demons work. Demons can't, I mean, at that point, you might as well just, every single part of the ground that he touches
so
is
he tries. So Mr. Sideben's over there.
Mhm.
He doesn't have a soul, so he's not able to freaking kill him by staring into his eyes. Which is like, okay, it makes sense. But then for some reason, he forgets that Ghost Rider can do that, so he absorbs all of the souls from this contract into himself. Now, why did he do that?
I mean, because that was, like, his whole goal. So, like, I mean, sometimes you're blinded by your goal.
It was his goal, and it was a freaking stupid goal. If all Ghost Rider had to do was stare into his eyes, like, and that's how the movie. And then, the devil's like, okay, now you don't have to have your curse anymore. Okay, you did what I want you to do. Thank you for doing that. And then Nicolas Cage is like, no, I want this, and Devil's pretty pissed for some reason, like,
no, you're gonna have to do more stuff for me. No.
like, and they set it up for a sequel.
Right, which also sucks, because it's just kind of like, first of all, he could have just lived a nice, peaceful life with Roxy, and he would never have been involved in any of this. So why was he like, nah, well, I mean, you know, it's my curse.
Like, if he could have gotten his soul back, but he didn't. The devil still has his soul.
And he's like, I'm gonna make this a living hell for you, the devil. Like, and I'm just like, what? No, you're not.
Like, the devil's like, what the hell, man? Like, it makes, this movie makes no sense. There are missing scenes.
I believe there are. There probably are. There's probably a director's cut that actually
there are no scenes that are like there could have been like a cool scene at the end, like showing him like defeating a bunch of people or something, but no, it just ends with him like leaving with Roxanne.
Well, why not?
It's like Megamind. The evil guy gets the girl.
Well, which is dumb, because at the end of the film, I was like, okay, let me look up the sequel. She's not in the sequel, so I don't.
What is she?
She's just not there, so I guess they couldn't get her under contract. So she's just not in the film anymore. I guess.
Or they recast.
I don't think they did recast, because I didn't see the name anywhere. I didn't see the character's name anywhere.
So anyways, that was a quick review, because I don't really like talking about that movie.
No, this was a bad film. This was a really bad film. The only problem is that it wasn't as bad as the holiday special. I'm gonna give it like a 1 out of 10.
I'm gonna give it a 1.5 out of 10, because I enjoyed the CGI of the face melting. It wasn't completely unnecessary, but it was really nice. So it gets a half point for that.
And also,
but I'm immediately gonna take that away for the skull CGI of Ghost Rider. So he's gonna get a 1.
All right, I also gave it a 1. I gave it a 1 because it did try. They maybe tried on this one. I'm not really sure.
I don't think this literally just feels like a cash grab. I'm not lying.
It might actually have been, because basically Sony and Marvel had like this contract where, like, if Sony didn't make a film with some of their properties, then their rights automatically reverted back to Marvel. So this might have literally just been a cash grab.
I think Marvel has the rights back for Ghost Rider.
Yes, they have. They have the rights back.
And guess what? They only included him in a mediocre TV show.
I wouldn't call Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. mediocre. A lot of people really like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I definitely think by the end it definitely got a little bit worse, but he appeared in season 4, I think, at least. I don't know. I'm only at season 4, so I'm not 100% sure, but if he appears in more. But season 4, the show was still writing pretty strong. I'd say, honestly, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. definitely deteriorated around the end. And now I would consider it, maybe not that great of a show. But, I mean, they definitely put him way more to use than they did with than Sony did. Like I don't think he deserves his own films. By the way, it wouldn't even work in the MCU. For him to have his
He
own
wouldn't
films.
work because he's too supernatural.
Right, like the most supernatural things about the MCU is like Doctor Strange. Like they're really tame. They don't want to get too far into like, because first of all, the whole like, if there's a devil and stuff, then what's the point of Thor? So a lot of it just has to be like, yeah, you kind of can't do that. Like it just doesn't it doesn't make a lot of sense. So I think that's why he's not in the MCU right now. So the future of Ghost Rider as a whole is kind of unclear. They were gonna make a TV show for him for Hulu, and then they canceled it. They kind of just didn't pick it up.
We are going to get a Fantastic Four film, a good one. I do not want to review Fantastic.
We could also review the first two.
I refuse to review Fantastic.
Yeah, Fantastic is definitely not. I haven't even watched that film.
I will not watch Fantastic. Maybe if we get 1,000 subscribers, I'll watch Fantastic.
Oh.
But other than that, I will not watch Fantastic.
Alright. Could you imagine if we actually, like, if people
we
started
hit
watching
1,000
them, they're
subscribers,
like...
I will watch Fantastic. I will watch the film.
So, what is the next film we're going to be watching?
We are watching Sharknado.
Sharknado. Which, actually, I believe that's a film that's so bad it's good. That's what I've heard.
It has horrible CGI. I have seen it before. It has horrible CGI.
Okay.
It's like freaking sharks in a tornado.
It sounds great. It sounds great.
It's Jaws but tornado.
I feel like though, like it's a comedic film. Like it's not meant to be taken seriously.
I don't think it's meant to be taken seriously, but there's 6 of them.
Right, that's why I think they just kind of make one every year and then just kind of like, oh well.
They were coming out yearly for a time. That just tells you how bad the CGI is. If they spend less than like less than a year filming and less than a year freaking doing the CGI. I think they're straight to TV too.
Right. What are they streaming on?
They're streaming on Amazon Prime Video for the time.
All right, yeah, I have that. All right, so we will be watching Sharknado 1, right? Sharknado 1 next week.
Next week, maybe next week. Next week is holiday, so like.
Oh, it is a holiday, so we might not be. Well,
it might be. We might take a week break, but we will be. If we're not then next week, we will be on. We will record on January 2nd. So, anyways.
Alrighty, well, I think that's gonna do it. Like we said before, this gets a 1 out of 10. It's not really that good. Do you have any closing remarks?
If you have the chance to, do not watch this film.
Don't ever watch this film. That sounds good. Let's just give that warning before every single episode. Like, yeah, just don't watch this film.
Unless Sharknado is so funny and so great that's good.
Right.
We're gonna give that same warning.
No. If it's that good, then we're not gonna give that same warning. If it's actually a good film, so if we like a film that's incredibly bad, then I'm going to still tell people to watch it, even if they might find it bad. Like, I'm sure there's gonna be a couple films where we're like, hey, this wasn't even that bad.
Like for example, we might enjoy freaking Troll 2.
Is there like a Troll 1? I don't even know what that series even is about.
There is a Troll 1, but it has nothing to do with Troll 2.
Alright, so I probably won't watch Troll 1 then, if that's also bad.
But anyways,
alright.
That's it for today.
That's it for today. So, be sure to like the video, if you like the video. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell to stay notified for any time we upload, which is normally once a week.
But if there is a new coming, do not go into a lead-lined fridge.
Yes. Also, if you see a guy with a flaming skull, you might want to run away.
If you see a guy with a flaming skull that looks very fake, it's probably just a mask. Okay.
It's probably just Nicolas Cage. All right. See you guys.
It's Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage Saga. Episode 1 of Nicolas Cage Saga. Let's go.
All right. Anyway, also be sure to comment down below any good or bad films that you want us to review, because we will probably review them at some point. Anyway, that's it. Take care, guys. See ya.